Susan has done 47 of the 50 years.
1968.
I would listen to her.
And Bill began in?
1970. So it's 45 years for me.
So our life has been lived on Days of Our Lives,
yep,
in addition to privately. We fell in love because of the show. We married, then we married on the show, divorced on the show, remarried on the show, divorced on the show, remarried on the show. But in real life, it's been one hell of a ride. An ongoing honeymoon, I would say.
But the show has been our life in many ways. It is, as we go around the country, we meet people and we're a part of their family. Our memories, much of our memories that we've had shared have been Days of Our Lives memories. We've had emotion-involved moments on the show that have been very moving to both of us. It's a very important part of our life.
And I must say that people seem to think the fact that we're still in love is an affirmation of the institution of marriage,
yeah,
and kind of a happy ending, which doesn't happen very often in soap opera, and it's something that they cling to.
Yeah, they love it.
They love it. They love the fact that we're in love, and it's nice to get cheered from the sidelines for having a good time.
Yeah. For me, it's the best. We met on the set of Days of Our Lives, in the studio, working on a show together, April 1970. We started working together, and the writer at that time, Bill Bell, began to put us together with more scenes. We were not lovers. We became very close working friends. And so that's the basis of our relationship. Then we fell in love, and then we got married, and we've carried on. We worked together in theater many times. I love working with Susan as an actress. She's fabulous as an actress. I can't imagine saying, oh, I have to work with my spouse today. Oh my, that's too much. I can't imagine that. It's so wonderful when we do work together.
We do love working together. It was a great bit of casting. I'm pleased to announce that on the show now, Doug and Julie are having scenes where they talk to each other, in addition to just talking to other people about their storylines, kind of reviving who we were and what we are. I'm hoping that we will sort of drift into being matriarch and patriarch for the Horton family. I'm the eldest Horton granddaughter. Bill was made an honorary Horton by Alice Horton in 1971. It's nice to be there as someone who deserves to be there and has a contribution to make.
Everything's changed. It's all so totally different. When we started, it was a half-hour show. And when we started, you would meet the day before and read through the script and block it and rehearse it. And then you would come in the morning and rehearse it, and finally do a taping. Now, it is an hour show. We never rehearse. It costs money to rehearse, so we can't rehearse. We can't do any overtime. You can't say, oh, I'd like to do that scene one more time. No, sorry, time's gone, that's it. They used to put a light on a specific spot.
Maybe your face.
Maybe a light right here for Julie to do her scene. Now we don't have time to do that. It costs money.
Now you depend on the other actor to sit.
Yeah.
Deidre's very good about sitting. There a little to the left.
If there's a shadow on her, one will say to the other actor somehow, move a little this way, and you'll be in light better. It's totally different that way. Also, we used to have scenes that would run 15 minutes, just two people talking. Now, nobody can watch that. It's a very short scene, followed by a very short scene, followed by a very short scene. That's what people can watch today. It's quite different.
Bill is speaking of the mechanics of making the show.
Yeah.
Speaking of the content of the show,
Yeah.
obviously in 50 years, American culture has changed. For me, the challenge of writing a soap opera now is writing an involving story where there are no absolute no's. When I started on the show, the ingenue was pregnant. Who's the daddy? This was the atomic bomb of bad news.
Right.
This colored everything. Well, times change. After the 60s, you didn't have the absolutes of, you may do this, you may never, never do that. You may never, never say that. You may never get caught doing that.
Yeah.
All of this has become much more of a gray area, with the exception of murder. So, writing an involving story where people are always on the edge, but might, even if they fall off, it's not so important. That's the difference that I feel all the time. It also makes the writing more interesting.
When we started on the show, a woman who was working was a bad woman.
Usually she was a bitch.
She was awful.
Because she had a career.
The mother at home was the nice person. The working woman was, now every woman has to work anyway.
Yes.
And you're lucky.
And hopefully get paid for it.
You're lucky if you get to stay home. On our wedding day in October 1976, when Doug and Julie kissed and they pronounced us man and wife. That's my favorite moment all the time I've been on the show.
Yes. Yes, we loved our wedding too, and apparently so did a lot of the fans. The whole time that Doug had a nightclub called Doug's Place, the time when Bill and Susan, Doug and Julie lived behind Doug's Place,
Yeah.
were raising Hope, who was a cute little girl, and Robert Clary, your cute little pal.
Yeah.
Those were
Wonderful
wonderful times.
We got to sing a lot.
A lot of
Going
music
back to
was
your
on
first
the show.
question, we got to sing. There were 2 years when we went to an hour. I sang 2 songs a week for 2
Every
years.
week. Yeah.
Every week. And that was 200, that's 200 songs in 2 years. It was wonderful.
And we had Gloria Loring and Patty Weaver, Robert Clary, and a lot of great singers on the
Stevens.
show. Kay Stevens. We've been doing them, I'm sure this is probably the 10th year or close to it.
Yeah.
Seeing the fans like this is great. It's brief, but it's great. Of course, with our notoriety attached to the show, we see fans every time we go to the grocery store, get on a bus, get on an airplane. We see fans. Last year we did a 15,000-mile driving trip in the family car, just the two of us, 36 states and Canadian provinces, and we saw fans everywhere. And this is the typical fan reaction. Oh! I've watched you for, fill in the amount, 25, 35, 50 years.
Yep.
Always an embrace and a loving reaction.
50 years of that.
50
Wow.
years of that. That's gold. That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And just in the last couple of months, we've been traveling around with the 50th anniversary book, the 300-page book that Greg Mang, our producer, put together. We threw in some pictures. He asked everybody in the cast that had older pictures, what have you got? So we participated in that. So we've met thousands of people in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
All of whom are still excited about the show, still can't wait for the next episode, just like we feel.